So I'm getting ready to do henna. I just washed my hair with clarifying shampoo. I think it's the Neutrogena brand, but that's what's suggested when you start doing your henna. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna section up my hair so I can get straight to the roots and not miss any parts, and we'll get from there. Now you don't have to do any crazy sectioning, just do it so you know that you're going to get all the spots. I have a tendency to miss a few because I'm doing too big a chunk for my henna. Um, and make sure you wear gloves because your hands will be orange or black depending on if you're using indigo if you do this process without them, and it'll last a while. So I'm going to continue sectioning and I'll be back. Okay, the fun part is done. I like to section up in pin curls just so I have smaller sections to pull out and use pin curl pins or little clamps. They're just easier and they're easy to clean when you're done. The next thing I'm going to do is put some Vaseline around all my edges. That way my skin, if it does get hit with the henna, it won't stain. And you want to do it around like the back of your neck as well. If you're like me, I have like longer sections of hair at the nape of my neck. So I'm going to try and go around those so they'll still get dyed by the henna, but yeah. So let me put that on and get my gloves on and we'll get started. All right, I'm ready to go. You can use a cone tub or pastry cone to help you do this. Note you'll never be able to use it for food again, but it's the easiest way to apply if you're not applying straight from an original mix. This is one I made about a month ago and froze it until I was ready to use it, and just let it thaw over the day. So yeah, I'm gonna start at the base of my neck and work my way up, and we'll have a head full of henna by the end of this. So I'm going to start with this and show you how I do it without showing you my mirror from the back. So kind of just treat it like your head's a giant cake. Try and get at the base of the roots as best as you can. If you're doing a whole head like immediately, I don't know if you can even hear me. Oh, let's put this a little higher so you can probably hear me better. Okay. Oops, maybe not. Okay. So, again, propping, just pasting it at the base of your roots because that's where everything is going to go henna-wise. If you're doing a whole head, you're going to need a lot more henna. The brand I use does come with instructions saying, like, depending what length you are, how much to mix up. But generally, once you start using henna, you don't really have to do a whole head again. I did it for years that way, not realizing I was wasting henna because this end hair color hasn't changed in years. So just make sure you get in there, add as thick a layer as you feel is comfortable. Generally the thicker the better, and make sure you work it into the skin there. Back of your head's always the hardest, but if you subdivide your hair, it does make it easier to get at the roots. I've got a very small hole on this today. Usually it's a lot bigger and I can get there faster, but I'm trying to think of what else to tell you. But it really isn't bad. If you've done hair color before, it's a lot thicker than you're used to, that's for sure. And it's definitely different than just applying straight hair color. You do have to be careful that it doesn't dry out too much on your head, otherwise the dye won't release right when you're either sleeping in it or leaving it on for like hours on end. It's kind of like developing with bleach. If you're trying to like get that white color hair, you leave it on longer. And the heat of your head does help with the color. So, get in there. I was telling my friends I look like a mud queen by the end. Not that anybody's seen this before, except for what various pictures I have. As this one pin decides it wants to fall down. Stop that. Your turn will come. Thank you. So, I've got that first section pretty well done. I've got the base of my neck pretty much there. As long as you put the Vaseline or whatever you want to call it, petroleum jelly, on your skin, especially down at the base there, it shouldn't dye too badly if you've missed up a section or leave it on too long. It will be a learning process. You will probably end up with a little dye, period, but you can try and mitigate it with the petroleum jelly. All right, I'm going to get on to the next section. Hopefully this isn't too boring. All right, come on. There you go. If you've got a white bathroom like me, I generally lay down dark towels, and actually on my floor I've got an old brown sheet just to cover everything, because if it does get on your walls or anything, you will have a stain. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Just like you would with like any normal hair color, if it gets on something, it will stain. And unlike nice colored hair dyes, it doesn't look pretty on the walls. Come on, why are you stuck in there? Thank you. Thank you. There we go. So like I said, those will be fairly easy to clean once you get to that point. And then determining when you want to do your dye again is really going to be your preference. Mine usually lasts about a month and a half, 2 months, depending on how fast my roots are growing. And then I'll just pull out a batch that I've either pre-made or made that day and save the rest. And try and do it on like a night you're not going to go in somewhere early. That way you can get the longest section, like time in on it. Yes, my favorite part. Getting those nice lines that you've sectioned out and then just kind of going up and into each section. You do want to massage it in. That way you try not to miss any sections that you can't get into. All right, let's see. Are you next? You are not next. All right, there. Hey, stop on. Look at your turn. So having the little sections makes it a lot easier for you to put the dye in, see where you're going, and make sure you don't miss any of those sections. Okay, let's do this one next. There's no rhyme or reason to which way I'm going or how I'm doing it, other than trying to go from bottom to top. That way you're just adding on layers of moisture so it doesn't dry out at the base. I have done it in the past where I did it top to bottom and it was a lot harder to handle. Make sure you get those baby hairs too. And it sounds a little weird, but when you're doing the Vaseline section around your face, make sure you get behind your ears. Because that section will definitely get hit with the dye, and you don't necessarily want to have whatever color you're doing behind your ears. I know there's a couple different brands out there for henna. I've done the Lush before. Red, it doesn't look quite right to me. They don't really have a true red color if you're going for that. Their black and brown, from what I've seen, are really nice. That is a double boil method, and you do make it day of. I use a brand called Ancient Sunrise, and it's a powder. I mix it myself to get the brighter color. I'm using just straight up water. If you want it deeper, you would add citric acid to it. All right, now I need to do this other side of my head before I get too far on my left side. So, all right, I'm gonna keep going, and I'll be back hopefully with a whole head of henna. All right, so we're at Swamp Queen mode. I do have a bit of henna around, so I'm just gonna take my, sorry for the super close up there. I just have a brown face cloth. Again, I have like a completely separate set of towels just for henna, just because of the staining. You can always just use old towels. You don't have to get anything specific if you don't want to. I just find it easier to just have a whole separate set of towels. So again, the oh, I missed a little. Oh well. I have an orange thumb for a couple days. That's fine. The petroleum jelly will protect a lot of it. I actually did a really good job today not getting a ton of henna on my face or my neck, I can tell. So the next part is going to be wrapping it up. Again, kind of like you're doing bleach, just to keep processing. The instructions I follow do say just leave it on for like 4 to 6 hours. If I'm going to do it that long, I might as well just sleep in it at this point. So we're going to saran wrap my head. Pull over phone. Thank you. So I've had that already pre-set up. If you got a big mirrors like I do, I just sort of hang it up on those and then put it up. Now I do find that it's easier just to do an all over wrap first, and then when you're putting your hair up, you can set up different ways. I've done like 2 buns on the side after I finished the sides and just kind of kept it split. Tonight I've just got a big bun in the back to do that. Careful when you're doing this part. I'm going to trim holes for my ears, or rather just slits. Okay, there we go. Because you do want the section that's around your ears and the base of your neck to be there, but you don't necessarily want your ears covered in henna, because again, staining. We're not Oompa Loompas. We don't need to have orange ears. So, all right, here's that. I'll trim the rest of this up too. I'm not gonna look super futuristic when I go to bed tonight. All right, again, be super careful when you do this. No one needs to get their ear accidentally snipped. If you're not comfortable doing that, they do have ear cover kind of things. So when you're doing the dye, you can just leave it. Okay, and again, if you're not comfortable, just sort of rearrange the saran wrap to make it easier for you. You don't have to like have it completely cover your face like I just did. Which one I want next? So I'm just going to make sure that every area is possibly covered. I'll probably do the bun just to keep it covered as well, and then up and back. Up away from my ear, please. I'd like to be able to not feel like I've got a crackle in my ear all night. All right, and then the last place I'm going to do is the bun, just to keep that upper heat in as well, and any extra henna that found its way onto that bun from staining anything. All right. Oops, that did not work the way I wanted it to. All right. Now that I'm fully wrapped, especially the base of my neck where it's going to dry out a lot faster. Oops, do not want extra henna. Thank you. And you can see it's already kind of yellowing, and that'll darken over time too if you don't catch it. It'll wash off in a couple of days. It's not, you didn't leave the henna on the skin long enough. If you haven't done, like, if you've ever been to Renaissance fairs or been to an Indian wedding, they usually do a lot of hand henna, and that's specific to skin. It's a slightly different mixture than what we're putting on our head. And that'll just stay on a long time and then get darker the longer you leave it on. Same thing will happen to your head. So if you take the henna right off your skin, it won't be affected as long. It'll stay on there a little while, but you should be able to wash it off. So, all right, we are completely wrapped up and as clean as I'm gonna get until tomorrow morning. So I usually go a step further and just grab a towel and just sort of turn wrap my head to keep all that heat in and keep the plastic from moving. All right, so that's the basics of the henna that I do. And then, yeah, you either let it stay for 4 to 6 hours, depending which directions you're following, or sleep in it overnight, just to give yourself a better color. And then the next morning, you'll just rinse it out. I generally just lean over my tub and rinse it out down the drain. There is a method with the bowl that you just let it kind of soak in it first with a bunch of water in it, and then start washing it out that way until it runs clear. You don't have to do clarifying. You can condition when you're done if your hair feels a little dry. But I'll see you in the morning with my color, and we'll go from there. Have a good night. All right, good morning. So we've slept overnight. Henna's ready to come out. This is the brand I was talking about last night, Ancient Sunrise. The one I get is, I'm probably gonna butcher this, I'm sorry, Rajasthani Twilight. They've got different colors on the Ancient Sunrise site. Just depends on what kind of tone you're looking for. This is a darker, brighter red. They've got a few that are just a little more neutral. So I'm just gonna take this lovely guy off. Oof. You can already see how much brighter it is than when I put it in yesterday. So, all right, I am just gonna go, not necessarily get in the shower, but start the process of wetting it out and then rinsing it out. So I will see you in a few minutes. And remember to condition your hair if it feels too dry. All right, henna is all rinsed out. I have it up in a towel for now. I'll take it out in just a second. I just want to get some of the excess water out. After this, you can blow dry it if you need to get somewhere real quick after doing this in the morning. I like to just leave it air dry. But as you can see, I got some nice pretty roots. Let's see how the other side did. That's the side I always seem to mess up. Oh, actually looks, where's my comb? I think I got rid of it earlier. Okay, well, finger it is. All right. No, actually did pretty good for a change. I've been recording the video. All right, so as you can see, white's a nice red. My little nape hairs are done too. And this one over here, this one was a little questionable yesterday. Nope, looks good. So that's all there is to it. Now you can just style it the way you need to, add any conditioners you need to. You don't need to worry about the henna fading because I don't know the science behind it. I probably should, being a chemist, but the henna dye just doesn't seem to fade. It'll lighten with sunlight if you're out there a lot, but not insanely over like whatever time. Like I said, the tips of my hair here, I've been doing it for about 10 years now, I'm pretty sure at this point, and this hasn't changed. So you won't have to worry about any fading, won't have to worry about it being left on your towels after excessive amount of time. You'll probably get a little residue the next wash you do, just from whatever henna didn't get washed out, and just general dust. But yeah, that's me doing henna on your hair, and if you have questions, let me know. Bye.